وعليكم السلام. History.
No.
عمر حجاج. Who did that one? Oh yeah, I remember. SubhanAllah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على من بعث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. The halal and the haram in the Sharia has been prescribed for us not without wisdoms. And the wisdoms are many, and we can list them, and they connect to many facets of society, whether that be sort of in a governance level, whether that be on a societal familial level, whether that be on an individual level, whether that be on a physical or a metaphysical level. There are many wisdoms with regards to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed for us and what He has prohibited us from doing. One of the things that the halal and haram they assist us in doing is to allow us and help us and assist us into elevating our own selves and our own character, and alleviating ourselves from the prejudices, from the negative characteristics of our self, from our object reality, and from allowing whatever is around us and what people have in terms of material possessions and so on and so forth have some form of bearing on what we think of ourselves and what we think of others. Let's break it down, inshallah. We, as human beings, we are born on the fitrah, on this natural predisposition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us with. And this fitrah is the way we look at the world when we are young, when we are children. And we see that in children, they don't have the same sort of characteristics that you would do or that you would have when you're an adult. And there is an element of innocence in their character, in the way they look at the world. There is an element of naivety in the way they look at the world. And that is why they have no taklif with regards to their actions. So they are not held accountable for the right and wrong that they do. And slowly, as a child progresses in life, as you once were a child, and as you have progressed in your life, you have developed and you have acquired and adopted certain, we'll call them lenses. And these lenses, they assist you in, or not assist you, in the way you look at the world. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you in a certain way, and you look at the world in that way. And that way is the natural way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you on. And if you were to look with that eye, with that natural eye in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you with, you will see that لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created mankind in the best of ways, in the best of fashions. There is no better fashion, there is no better way in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you. And I mean you, personally, you, the singular, you, who I'm speaking to. That goes for both physical and psychological. It goes for your personality. It goes from the way you speak. All of those things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you in the best of proportions. And mankind is forever some are better in some instances than others. Some people are, have a knack and are naturally gifted at a certain thing, and others are stronger in other things. But the point is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you, personally you, in the best of fashions. Now, when you add these lenses that you acquire as you go through life, that vision of وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ becomes distorted. You no longer see mankind and the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as something that Allah has perfected. You no longer see the son of Adam and the daughter of Hawa as creations of Allah. as people who have, on some level, an inherent connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have a source that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the ruh, right? And every single person in that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created has this. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. They ask you concerning the ruh, say that the ruh is from Allah. These are the affairs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what you have been given with regards to knowledge is only a small, minute portion. So this ruh is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has endowed and given life to every human being through. And if everybody has this, then it is up to us as people of the book, as people of the Quran, as people whom revelation has been revealed to and have accepted that revelation and believed in it, to recognize this inherent element in every creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we do that, we connect to them in a different way. Their salvation concerns us more than anything else. Our own personal vendettas, our own personal angsts and anguishes against people, they go out of the window. They are no longer a concern. They are no longer the deciding factor in how we deal with one another. But as you progress in life, lenses are covered. They cover that vision. So you'll go through things in life, and one of the first things that you'll acquire is sort of this recognition of your own self, that you are, a certain way, and you have to have things a certain way. And if they are not that way, then they are inherently wrong, and they have to be corrected, right? This is like the ghurur of the insan, his own kibr, his own pride and his own arrogance, right? That he is right and everyone else is wrong, right? And even though they may be right, he is righter. He is more right than anybody else. And so that lens is put over the way you see the world. Then there is this want of, as you get older, this want of recognition, of status, of acknowledgement, of praise, right? That what you are doing is good, right? So you yourself recognize that, yeah, I'm on the haqq and everybody else should follow me. But you want everybody else to recognize that in you too. So you search for that and you look for that, right? And you will do things in order to acquire that, right? Whether that means that you go out to acquire wealth, whether that means you go out to acquire status, whether that means you go out in order to do things for people to see, to praise you for doing them, and so on and so forth. No matter what the action is, you're going to do it in order to get that recognition of your own self, right? And if you don't, then there is this sort of self-reproach, right? That you're not doing something right. You begin to hate yourself. And if it means that you have to go out and acquire wealth, it means that you're not going to want to spend wealth on others, right? Because you want to reach a certain stage in society, right? That people acknowledge you in. So you're not going to want to spend. You're not going to want to give in charity. Rather, you're going to want to keep your wealth for yourself in order that you can spend and acquire the material possessions so that people recognize your status in society. And what that means is that you're going to have an attachment to this world. All of these are lenses, right? All of these are lenses, the pride and the arrogance, right? The want of status and showing off. It's another lens that you put on. That love of money and material possessions in order to be recognized by others, right? That's another lens that you put on. The want of the dunya and the love of the dunya over the akhirah. So you now no longer have any relationship with the akhirah. You have no relationship to your death. You have completely forgotten that you're going to die. Rather, all you know about and all you strive for is acquiring material possessions, right? So the love of the dunya is another lens that you put on. And when you have this love of the dunya, you are now looking at what others have and you covet what others have, and it angers you that you don't have that, and it angers you that they have what you don't have. And even if you can't acquire what they have, they shouldn't have that. So there's this hasad and this hiqd and this jealousy and this envy and animosity. These are all more lenses that you're adding, right? And then when that characteristic, when you see the world and with that lens, you are now saying things about people, right? You are now lying in order to get your way. You are now slandering and backbiting others, right? For what they have and because you don't have it. And because of this hiqd and hasad that you have in your heart. So all of these are lenses, brothers and sisters, that we put on. And when we put on these lenses, our vision of the world and our understanding of the world and our recognition of what haqq is and what batil is and what the truth is and what falsehood is, what revelation is and what shaytana, right? What evil tendencies are, it becomes distorted. We can't differentiate between the two, to the point where we think that someone, doing a righteous action, and professing that that's a righteous action is in fact a righteous action. But really, he is just doing it to show off. Really, he is just doing it to get recognition in society, right? We see that a man, he spends his whole wealth, or he spends his whole time acquiring his wealth through riba, right? And then he comes and he gives a little bit of sadaqah, and everybody knows that he's given that sadaqah, right? So we suddenly think that, mashallah, this is an amazing thing. Ya akhi, where does your wealth come from? Subhanallah. Yes, let's not take away from the sadaqah. But brother, where is your wealth coming from? Right? But no one sees that. And he is the last person to see that because he has all these lenses. And these lenses are telling him that what he is doing is good. What he is doing is right. What he is doing is justified. But the Sharia, brothers and sisters, it helps us to remove these lenses as we go through life. It helps us to recognize what is a lens and what is reality, what is the truth. So when it comes to what we say in order to get our way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He enjoins us to be truthful and honest and transparent with what we say. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he forbade us from lying. And he said that it is not from the characteristics of a mu'min. A believer doesn't lie. He doesn't lie. He doesn't have iman, the one who lies. He is not considered a believer. So when we are encouraged to do all of this stuff, we are alleviating ourselves from this lens. Okay, Allah tells us to be honest, we are honest. Okay, that's that lens removed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us not to be jealous and envious of others. And the Prophet ﷺ, he forbids us from being jealous and envious towards others. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that only two things there is permissibility of you having envy for. Only two things. And that is a person who is endowed with knowledge and he teaches people that knowledge. He is a benefit to society through that knowledge. And a person who has been given wealth and he spends in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives in charity. Those are the only two things that you are allowed to be envious of. Everything else, envy is haram. Right? لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا. The Prophet ﷺ also, he forbade us from becoming angry. So we are no longer focusing our anger on the fact that someone has something that we don't have. Someone is doing something that we want to do and we want to get praise for. Someone is getting recognition for something that we want to get recognition for. Right? We are no longer getting angry at those things. Someone hasn't recognized my own self-worth, so he himself is worthless. Right? We're no longer getting angry at those things. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تغضب. When someone asked him for advice, فَرَدَّدَ مِرَارًا قَالَ لَا تَغْضَبْ. Asked him a number of times, Awsini, give me some advice, Ya Rasulullah. And he told him, don't get angry. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. Right? So when we recognize that, that's another lens that's removed. When we are enjoined obliged to give in zakat, when we are encouraged to give in sadaqah in the month of Ramadan and outside of the month of Ramadan, that's another lens that we are removing. When we are told that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who are humble and He doesn't love those who are proud and arrogant, right? That's another lens removed. And finally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reminds us of the akhirah. It reminds us of His meeting Him, reminds us that there is His sole purpose of creating us was to worship Him. And we recognize that purpose. all of those things, they fall into place. And that's the final lens that is removed, which is the pride and arrogance of our own selves, the ghurur that we have in our own selves. So that we humble ourselves towards Allah, recognize our purpose and worship Him alone. That is the final lens removed. And once that is achieved, brothers and sisters, once that ikhlas is achieved for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will then begin to see the world as it is. You'll begin to see the dunya that is just a trick. It's just a temporary illusion built to deceive you, to make you forget. You'll recognize that everybody has an element of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in them. This element of the ruh that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has endowed in every human being. And when they are Muslim, you recognize that that iman that they have is attached to that. There is an element of the divine in them. And that is what connects you with them. And the kafir that doesn't have that iman in him, you recognize that that is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you hope for their salvation. And when you look at the world in that way, brothers and sisters, you recognize the dhulm and the oppression and the tyranny that is going on. And you recognize those who are oppressed, and you recognize what you need to do in order to alleviate that oppression. You recognize your own role in society. You recognize the haqq from the batil. You recognize the ploys of shaitan and the kuffar and the munafiqun. You recognize what they are attempting to do in terms of to spread fasad. You're not tricked. You're not naive. You're not ignorant. When you look at the world through the lens, the natural lens that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for you, the basira. That, brothers and sisters, is where we need to get to. And the Sharia, it enables us to do that. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obliged for us, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed for us, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid down laws for us, what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do, they are all geared towards removing these lenses in which we see the world in. And brothers and sisters, when we are seeing the world like that, we are also seeing ourselves like that. If we are seeing the world with those lenses, we are also looking at ourselves with those lenses. Right? Isn't it strange how there's always an element of morbid self-reproach whenever we don't do what it is that we are supposed to be doing, when we feel that we are not achieving our true potential, when we failed at something and we haven't, something hasn't gone our way, right? We start to beat ourselves up, we hate ourselves, something that we're doing wrong, we're supposed to be better, right? And then there's always this element, no matter how many lenses that you have, there is always this element, that true lens that you're supposed to look through, that natural lens that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for you, right? That ruh, that iman, that basira, that bayina that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in you, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has endowed with you through your iman, that is the true lens which you're supposed to look through. And every now and again, there is this time in you, there is this element in you that pulls you towards looking through that lens. There is just a fleeting moment in your life sometimes, and Ramadan comes, where all those lenses are temporarily removed, even if it's for a fleeting moment. And you see the world for what it is, and then those lenses come back and vision is distorted again. And it is in those moments where your nafs and your ruh are at odds with one another. And that is when you look at your own self and you think, subhanAllah, where am I at? I'm so far away from Allah, I'm so disconnected from Allah. Is there a way for me to get back? Right? And then we recognize that the doors of tawbah are always open. And so we begin with our tawbah, and our lenses are slowly removed. But then we stop. Since Ramadan has gone, no one is standing up in the middle of the night praying. No one is doing any khatamat of the Quran every month. The Quran has gone back to the shelf now, collecting dust. The ahadith that we were reading are now gone and forgotten. Those actions that we were doing in Ramadan, they're no longer present in our lives, and they've been taken over by Netflix and Amazon Prime and Prime Video or whatever it is. These things have taken over our lives again. The news and what's happening, and COVID-19 and lockdown, is it going to end, and what's happening, and the conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff, all that stuff is taken over again. So we are busying ourselves with other than Allah. So the lenses come back, and we see the world in that distorted vision again. And we see ourselves in that distorted vision again. And so we are forever being pushed away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we are forever pushing ourselves away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So brothers and sisters, the only way for us to see the world as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes for us to see it, is for us to hold ourselves accountable. Is for us to do muhasabat al-nafs, to do mujahadat al-nafs, to fight our own selves, and to discipline ourselves. And it's not hard. It's not hard, right? But why? Because the instructions are there in the manual, which is the Quran and the Sunnah. It is all there practiced for you. Because we have a practiced apathy in Islam. We're not just about theory here, right? And it's all there practiced by the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All you have to do is follow in his footsteps, and you will alleviate yourselves from these lenses one by one, one by one, one by one. And is it strange in Ramadan that is the case, right? Where we're suddenly enlightened beings, suddenly so spiritual, suddenly so connected, suddenly so knowledgeable about the Kitab and the Sunnah, right? We are now advising others about what to do and how to conduct themselves. We are now exemplary for others to follow, right? And we can show that as well. It shows on our character, it shows in our actions, it shows the way we dress. We suddenly have a beard, we suddenly have a hijab, right? All of these things, they start to show, they start to emanate. Why? Because temporarily those lenses are being removed. Some of them stay, but some of them are being removed. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq and the ability to live by the Sharia, to live by the Quran and the Sunnah, to embody the Quran and the Sunnah in our lives, so that we can alleviate ourselves from the burden of seeing the world in this distorted way, seeing ourselves and Allah's creation and in this distorted way. We can remove those lenses and see ourselves for who we truly are, and recognize in ourselves that fitrah, that inherent connection with Allah, that inherent connection to all that Allah has created, that inherent connection to one another, so that we can be worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala collectively. We can be a community that enjoins good and forbids evil. We can be the best of nations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set forth among mankind. Ameen, ameen. A few announcements, brothers and sisters, before we end. The Saturday halaqah, inshallah, is going on this week, bi'idhnillah. It's going to be conducted by Imam Umar Hajjaj. Umar Hajjaj was one of the panelists in our quiz recently. The title of tomorrow's halaqah is going to be being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being grateful to Allah. Having shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the opposite of which is kufran, and is connected to kufr, right? So covering the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not recognizing them, ignoring them. So how to be grateful, how to alleviate yourself of the lens of ingratitude. Right, let's inshallah, let's have a look at that. That's going to happen tomorrow at 7:30, inshallah. Very much looking forward to that. On Sunday, inshallah, we have the quiz at 7:30. Our special guest panelist is going to be Ayub Sidat from Islamic Network, inshallah. A very mashallah, outgoing person, alhamdulillah. So we look forward to having him on the Sunday quiz, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. That's going to be at 7:30 on Sunday, inshallah. All of the links are on our website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, inshallah, to get all of the updates, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. A quick update with regards to the mosque reopening. So inshallah, we are working our way towards the reopening. Alhamdulillah, we conducted a pilot session in the masjid, where we brought a number of people here to test out a lot of the policies and procedures that we put in place. Alhamdulillah, it was very successful. We're going to build on that, inshallah, and implement a few changes, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And that will put us in a better position, inshallah, to reopen soon, inshallah. So no dates just yet, but bi'idhnillah, we will definitely keep you posted, inshallah, as to how we progress with that. So make dua that we are successful in doing so, inshallah. We want to do that in the quickest way possible, but also in the safest way possible as well. We don't want to put anybody in harm's way, and we don't want to put anybody in any unnecessary risk. And we want to make sure that we are above board with everything that we are doing here. Now, it's a very arduous task and very long and very difficult, and there have been a lot of things that we've been doing behind the scenes as a team here at the masjid. If you'd like to help out and assist us, inshallah, go onto the website, fill out the volunteering form, inshallah, go to the volunteering page. You can find that on the main menu. on the website, inshallah, and send us your details. We'll be in touch, inshallah, and let you know how and where we need assistance, inshallah, with that, bi'idhnillah. And don't forget, inshallah, to support IANL with whatever is possible and whatever is easy, inshallah ta'ala, to allow us to keep going with the work that we do, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khaira, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العلي الجليل يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Yeah, pray الظهر.